What if I told you there are places on Earth so extraordinary, so impossible looking, that your mind will refuse to believe they're real? Places where gravity seems optional, where colors don't exist anywhere else in nature, and where ancient secrets hide in plain sight. In the next hour, I'm going to take you to 15 hidden corners of our planet that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about Earth. And I guarantee by place number 7, you'll be questioning reality itself. But first, let me ask you this. Are you ready to see your world through completely different eyes? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine stepping through a portal into another dimension. A place where physics bends, where time stands still, and where beauty reaches levels that seem almost impossible. Now open them. Because every single location I'm about to show you exists right here, on our planet. These aren't fantasy worlds from movies. They're not computer-generated dreams. They're real places you can actually visit, if you know where to look. For the past 3 years, I've been collecting the most extraordinary hidden places on Earth. Places so incredible that most people will live their entire lives never knowing they exist. Today, I'm sharing all 15 with you. So grab your passport for the imagination, because we're about to embark on a journey that will forever change how you see our world. Place 15, the Spotted Lake of Canada. In the desert of British Columbia, Canada, lies a lake so extraordinary that the local First Nations people consider it sacred. Spotted Lake, or Clearlock as it's known in the local Okanagan language, transforms every summer into one of the most surreal natural phenomena on Earth. During the spring, Spotted Lake looks like any other small lake, about 38 acres of water surrounded by desert hills. But as the summer heat intensifies and the water begins to evaporate, something magical happens. The lake doesn't just shrink, it separates into hundreds of individual pools, each one a different color. Picture this, instead of one lake, you're looking at hundreds of circular pools in shades of yellow, green, blue, and white, separated by hardened mineral deposits that form natural walkways between them. It looks like a giant's palette where nature has been experimenting with every color in the spectrum. Each pool contains different concentrations of minerals, magnesium sulfate, calcium, and sodium sulfates. As the water evaporates, these minerals become so concentrated that they crystallize, creating the colors and the hard surfaces that separate each pool. Some pools are deep blue, others bright yellow or green, and some are so white they look like snow. The Okanagan people have considered this lake sacred for centuries, believing its mineral-rich waters have healing properties. They would come here to gather medicine and to perform ceremonies, and they still consider it one of their most holy sites. During World War I, the minerals from Spotted Lake were actually harvested to make ammunition, shipping over a ton of minerals from this remote lake to munitions factories. Today, the lake is protected, and access is restricted to preserve both its natural beauty and its cultural significance. What makes this place truly special is its predictability within its mystery. Every year, like clockwork, the lake transforms. But the exact pattern of pools, their colors, and their arrangement are never quite the same, making each summer's display unique and unrepeatable. Place 14, the Muvale Cave, Romania. Beneath the Romanian countryside lies one of the most alien environments on Earth, a cave that was sealed off from the outside world for 5.5 million years, evolving its own unique ecosystem in complete darkness. The Muvale Cave wasn't discovered until 1986, and what scientists found inside challenged everything they thought they knew about life on our planet. This isn't just any cave, it's a completely self-contained world. The air inside is toxic to humans, filled with hydrogen sulfide and lacking in oxygen. The atmosphere is so poisonous that scientists can only explore it wearing full protective gear and breathing apparatus. But in this toxic environment, life not only survives, it thrives. The cave is home to 48 species found nowhere else on Earth. These aren't just variations of surface species, they're completely unique creatures that evolved in isolation for millions of years. Picture transparent spiders with no eyes, since sight is useless in eternal darkness. Imagine leeches that have never felt sunlight, living their entire lives in sulfur-rich pools. There are centipedes the size of your hand, perfectly adapted to navigate by touch and chemical signals in complete blackness. The entire ecosystem survives without any energy from the sun. Instead, it's powered by chemosynthetic bacteria that convert the cave's toxic chemicals into energy, the same process that powers life around deep-sea hydrothermal vents. The cave's isolation has been so complete that the species inside represent a completely parallel path of evolution. They show us what life might look like on other planets or in other extreme environments where traditional life seems impossible. Only a handful of scientists have ever been allowed inside Mouvale Cave, and access is strictly controlled to prevent contamination of this unique ecosystem. It's a reminder that even on our well-explored planet, there are still worlds within worlds waiting to be discovered.
Travel Guide. Place 13. The Valley of Flowers, India. High in the Himalayas, at altitudes where most plants struggle to survive, lies a valley that transforms into one of the most spectacular natural flower gardens on Earth. The Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, India, remains buried under snow for most of the year, but for a few short months during the monsoon season, it explodes into a riot of color that has to be seen to be believed. Picture this: you've trekked for days through rugged mountain terrain, gaining altitude until your lungs burn with every breath. The landscape around you is harsh and stark gray rock, thin air, and little sign of life. Then, suddenly, you crest a ridge and see it spread out below you, a valley floor carpeted with millions upon millions of wildflowers in every color imaginable. This isn't a garden planted by human hands, it's a natural phenomenon that occurs when the monsoon rains awaken seeds that have been dormant all winter. Over 300 species of alpine flowers bloom here, creating a living tapestry that changes daily as different species reach their peak flowering times. The colors are almost electric in their intensity against the stark mountain landscape. Bright blue poppies, yellow primulas, purple orchids, red rhododendrons, and dozens of species found nowhere else in the world. The entire valley floor becomes a living rainbow that stretches for miles. But this paradise is fragile and temporary. The flowering season lasts only from July to September, and even then, the best displays might last just a few weeks. The valley sits at 12,000 feet above sea level, where the growing season is brutally short and the conditions are extreme. Local legend says this valley was discovered by accident in 1931 by a group of British mountaineers who were caught in a blizzard and stumbled into it while seeking shelter. They found themselves in what they described as a valley of such overwhelming beauty that it seemed like a gift from the Travel
gods.
Guide. Place 12. The Socotra Island dragon trees. Yemen, on a remote island in the Arabian Sea, cut off from the mainland for millions of years. Evolution has created trees that look like they belong on an alien planet. Socotra Island is home to the dragon blood tree, a species so unique and bizarre that it challenges everything we think we know about what trees should look like. Imagine a tree that grows upside down, with its roots reaching toward the sky. That's what dragon blood trees look like. Their massive trunks branch out into umbrella-shaped canopies that are perfectly flat on top, as if someone had taken giant scissors and trimmed them all to the same height. These trees can live for hundreds of years and grow incredibly slowly. Their strange shape isn't just for show, it's an adaptation to Socotra's harsh, arid climate. The umbrella canopy provides shade for the tree's own roots and helps trap moisture from the occasional fog that drifts across the island. But the most incredible thing about these trees is their blood. When you cut the bark, thick red resin oozes out dragon's blood, one of the most valuable natural substances in the ancient world. This resin has been traded for over 2,000 years, prized for its medicinal properties and its perfect red color. Socotra Island itself is like stepping back in time. Because it's been isolated for 15 to 20 million years, over 1/3 of its plant species exist nowhere else on Earth. It's often called the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean, but even that comparison doesn't do justice to its otherworldly beauty. Walking through a forest of dragon blood trees is like walking through a Dr. Seuss book come to life. The trees cast circular shadows on the ground, creating natural umbrellas that local people have used for shelter for centuries. Each tree is perfectly symmetrical, perfectly shaped, and perfectly
Travel
alien.
Guide. Place 11. The Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland. On the rugged coast of Northern Ireland, where the Atlantic Ocean crashes against ancient cliffs, lies one of the most geometrically perfect natural formations on Earth. The Giant's Causeway consists of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, each one perfectly hexagonal, creating a natural pathway that seems to lead directly into the sea. Legend says this causeway was built by the Irish giant Finn McCool, who constructed it to walk across to Scotland and fight his Scottish rival. The reality is even more incredible than the myth. These columns were formed 50 to 60 million years ago during a period of intense volcanic activity. Picture this: massive lava flows cooled slowly and evenly, causing the rock to contract and crack in the most efficient way possible into perfect hexagons. It's the same pattern you see in honeycombs, in dried mud, and in other places where nature seeks the most efficient geometric solution. But here, that geometric perfection is magnified into a landscape-scale phenomenon. The columns vary in height, creating a natural staircase that seems almost too perfect to be real. Some columns are short enough to use as stepping stones. Others rise 40 feet into the air like the pillars of a ruined cathedral. The tops of the columns form a pavement so level you could drive a car across it. What makes this place truly magical is how it changes with the light and weather. During storms, massive waves crash over the columns, sending spray hundreds of feet into the air. At sunset, the wet basalt glows like burnished metal. On misty days, the causeway seems to disappear into the fog, really looking like a bridge to another world. The local people have been telling stories about this place for over 1,000 years, and it's easy to understand why. Standing on these perfect geometric formations, watching the wild Atlantic stretch to the horizon, you can't help but feel like you're standing at the edge of the known world. Place 10, the Fly Geyser of Nevada, USA. In the middle of the Nevada desert, on private ranch land far from any road, sits one of the most surreal geothermal features on Earth. Fly Geyser looks like something from an alien planet, a colorful, otherworldly sculpture that spouts water and steam 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This isn't a natural formation, but it's not exactly man-made either. In 1964, a geothermal energy company drilled a test well here and hid an underground geothermal pocket. When they abandoned the well, hot water continued to spout from the hole, carrying dissolved minerals that built up over decades into the fantastic formation we see today. Picture a cone of rock about 12 feet high, colored in brilliant reds, yellows, and greens by thermophilic algae that thrive in the heart, mineral-rich water. Three spouts shoot water 15 feet into the air continuously, creating a constant plume of steam that rises against the desert sky. The entire formation looks like a miniature volcano designed by a mad artist. The colors are constantly changing as the algae respond to temperature variations and seasonal changes. In summer, the formation might be deep red and orange. In winter, it could shift to brilliant greens and yellows. The water flowing from the geyser has created a series of terrace pools that look like something from Yellowstone, but with an alien twist. What makes this place truly special is its isolation. It sits on private land, protected from casual visitors, which has allowed it to develop undisturbed for over 50 years. The surrounding area has become a wetland oasis in the desert, home to species of birds and plants that shouldn't exist in this harsh environment. Recently, this incredible site was purchased by the non-profit Burning Man Project, which plans to eventually open it for limited public access while preserving its unique ecosystem. Place 9, the hidden beach of Mexico, Playa del Amor. Off the coast of the Marianas Islands near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, lies one of the most secretive beaches on Earth. Playa del Amor, or the Hidden Beach, is completely enclosed by rock formations, creating a private paradise that can only be accessed by swimming through an underwater tunnel. Imagine this: you're floating in the Pacific Ocean, looking at what appears to be a solid rock island. Your guide tells you to take a deep breath and follow them underwater. You swim down and through a tunnel in the rock, and when you surface, you're in another world. You're inside a completely hidden circular beach, surrounded by towering rock walls that rise 100 feet above you. The only opening is the tunnel you just swam through, and above you, the sky forms a perfect circle of blue. It's like being inside a giant, natural swimming pool with its own private beach. The sand here is soft and white, the water a perfect turquoise, and the whole space feels like a secret that nature has been keeping for centuries. You can float on your back and see nothing but sky, completely cut off from the outside world. But here's the fascinating origin story. This hidden paradise was created by military testing. The Mexican military used these uninhabited islands for target practice in the early 1900s. One of their explosions blew a hole in the roof of what was then a closed cave system, creating the opening that lets in light and makes this beach possible. Today, the Marietas Islands are a protected national park and UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Access to the hidden beach is strictly limited to preserve this fragile ecosystem. Only a few dozen people per day are allowed to visit, and you must be an experienced swimmer to make the journey through the tunnel.
Place 8. The ice caves of Iceland. Vatnajökull, Europe's largest glacier, lies a world of ice so blue it seems to glow with its own inner light. The ice caves of Vatnajökull Glacier in Iceland are temporary masterpieces, carved anew each year by geothermal heat and meltwater, creating chambers and tunnels of compressed ice that are nothing short of magical. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a glacier, wearing crampons and carrying ice axes, when your guide leads you to what looks like a small opening in the ice. You crawl through, and suddenly you're inside a cathedral made entirely of ice. The walls around you are translucent blue, sculpted into flowing curves and spirals by the movement of the glacier above. This isn't just any ice, it's compressed glacier ice, hundreds of years old, so dense that it has squeezed out all the air bubbles. This compression creates that incredible deep blue color, the same blue you see in the deepest parts of the ocean. The ice is so clear in places that it's like looking through blue glass. But here's the incredible thing about these caves, they're constantly changing. The glacier moves, the temperature fluctuates, and the caves reshape themselves. The cave you explore today might be completely different next month, or it might not exist at all. Each cave is temporary, unique, and irreplaceable. The silence inside these ice caves is profound and deep, almost spiritual quiet, broken only by the occasional crack and groan of the glacier settling. The acoustics are incredible. Every whisper echoes, every footstep rings like a bell. It's like being inside a musical instrument made of ice. Some of these caves stretch for hundreds of feet into the glacier, with chambers large enough to hold a small concert. Others are intimate passages barely wide enough for one person. Each one is a work of art created by forces we can barely comprehend, destroyed and recreated in an endless cycle of frozen beauty.
Guide. Place 7. The Salar de Uyuni Salt Flats, Bolivia. Hold on to everything you think you know about Earth, because we're about to visit a place that will make you question the laws of physics. The Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia isn't just the world's largest salt flat. During the rainy season, it becomes the world's largest mirror, creating illusions so perfect they've been used to calibrate satellites in space. Imagine standing on a surface so flat and reflective that the sky and Earth become one. There's no horizon line, no up or down, just an endless expanse where clouds seem to float beneath your feet, and you appear to be walking on the sky itself. It's disorienting, magical, and completely surreal. This place is massive, minus 4,000 square miles of pure white salt, formed when prehistoric lakes evaporated thousands of years ago. During the dry season, the salt forms perfect hexagonal patterns that stretch to the horizon like nature's own geometric artwork. But during the rainy season, that's when the magic happens. A thin layer of water covers the salt, creating a mirror so perfect it reflects the sky with stunning clarity. Standing here during sunset is like being suspended between two infinite skies, with clouds above and below you stretching forever in all directions. But here's what makes this place truly extraordinary. It contains 10 billion tons of salt, and underneath that salt lies 50 to 70% of the world's lithium reserves. This remote, beautiful place might hold the key to our technological future, powering the batteries in our phones, cars, and computers. The local people harvest salt here using traditional methods passed down through generations. They pile the salt into perfect pyramids that dot the landscape like white mountains, a reminder that even in this otherworldly place, real people live and work and call this impossible landscape home. Wait until you see what's coming next, because place number 8 will take us to a realm where ice becomes art and silence becomes
Travel
music.
guide.
Place 6, the marble caves of Chile, Patagonia. In the remote waters of General Carrera Lake in Chilean Patagonia, accessible only by kayak or small boat, lies a natural sculpture gallery that took 6,000 years to create. The marble caves, or capillas de mármol, are not just caves, they're living art galleries where light and water create a masterpiece that changes every moment of every day. Picture this, you're paddling across the turquoise waters of a glacial lake, surrounded by snow-capped peaks and endless sky. The water is so clear you can see 30 feet down to the lake bottom. Then, you approach what looks like a series of holes in a massive marble cliff, and suddenly you're inside another world. The walls around you are pure marble, polished smooth by thousands of years of wave action. But this isn't white marble, it's streaked with blues and greys that seem to glow with their own inner light. The roof above curves and twists in impossible organic shapes, creating chambers and corridors that feel more like a natural cathedral than a cave. But the real magic happens with the light. The glacial water of the lake reflects sunlight upward, creating rippling patterns of blue and turquoise that dance across the marble walls. The color changes throughout the day, deep blue in the morning, brilliant turquoise at noon, and golden at sunset. It's like being inside a living kaleidoscope. Here's the incredible part, these caves are still being carved. Every wave, every season, every year changes their shape slightly. The caves you see today are different from the caves that existed 100 years ago. And they'll be different again in another 100 years. The remoteness of this place adds to its magic. There are no crowds here, no gift shops, no paved pathways. Just you, your kayak, and one of the most beautiful natural phenomena
Travel
on
guide.
Earth.
Place number 5. The glowworm caves of New Zealand. Waitemata. Beneath the rolling green hills of New Zealand's North Island lies a world that seems torn from a fairy tale. The Waitomo Caves aren't just limestone caverns, they're home to millions of tiny creatures that create one of the most magical light shows on Earth. Imagine floating in complete darkness on an underground river, the only sound the gentle lap of water against your boat. Then, slowly, you look up. Above you, thousands upon thousands of tiny blue-green lights twinkle like stars, creating the illusion that you're drifting through space itself. These aren't artificial lights, they're glowworms. But not the glowworms you might know from your backyard. These are Arachnocampa luminosa, found nowhere else on Earth except New Zealand. They're actually the larvae of fungus gnats, and they glow to attract prey into their sticky silk threads. The effect is absolutely mesmerizing. The ceiling of the cave becomes a living constellation, with lights that pulse and shimmer like a slow-motion fireworks display. Some visitors say it's like floating through the Milky Way. Others describe it as nature's own planetarium. But here's what makes this place truly special. The glowworms are incredibly sensitive to sound and movement. The caves must be kept in perfect silence to avoid disturbing them. Even the boats move without engines, guided by ropes and the gentle current of the underground river. This delicate ecosystem has existed undisturbed for thousands of years. The Maori people knew about these caves long before European settlers arrived, calling them Waitomo, meaning water going into a hole. They considered the caves sacred, believing they were portals to the spirit
Travel
world.
guide. What makes this place even more special is that it was only discovered by the outside world in 2013. For centuries, it remained hidden beneath snow and ice. Global warming, ironically, melted enough snow to reveal this spectacular sight to the world. The local Quechua people consider this mountain sacred, believing it's home to the spirits of their ancestors. Standing there at sunrise, watching the colors shift and dance as the light changes, you can understand why. This isn't just a mountain, it's a living, breathing canvas that changes throughout the day. Place 4, the Antelope Canyon, Arizona, USA. In the heart of Navajo Nation, carved by water and wind over thousands of years, lies a slot canyon so beautiful that photographers travel from around the world just to capture one perfect shot. But no photograph can truly prepare you for the experience of walking through Antelope Canyon. Imagine squeezing through an opening in the rock barely wide enough for your shoulders, then suddenly finding yourself in a cathedral of stone. The walls rise 120 feet above you, carved into impossible curves and spirals that seem to flow like frozen water. The rock itself is a warm, glowing sandstone that seems to capture and hold light like amber. But the real magic happens at midday. When the sun reaches its peak, beams of light pour down through the narrow openings above, creating columns of luminous dust and air that look solid enough to climb. These light beams shift and dance, appearing and disappearing like spirits moving through the canyon. The Navajo people call this place the place where water runs through rocks, and their guides will tell you stories of flash floods that carve these passages in mere hours. It's humbling to realize that this incredible beauty was created not by gentle erosion over millions of years, but by the violent power of rushing water during desert storms. Here's something most people don't know. The canyon is only accessible with a Navajo guide, and for good reason. Flash floods can still occur with little warning, filling the narrow passages with deadly torrents of water and debris. This place is not just beautiful, it's wild and dangerous, a reminder that nature's most incredible creations often come with a price.
In this superheated mineral soup, tiny gypsum crystals began to form and grow, molecule by molecule, grain by grain, year after year, century after century. The growth was so slow that scientists estimate these giant crystals grew at a rate of just a few molecules per second. It's the ultimate expression of patience, nature taking its time to create something perfect. The cave system actually contains multiple chambers. The Cave of Crystals is the most spectacular, but there's also the Cave of Swords, filled with smaller but equally perfect needle-like crystals, and the Cave of Candles, where formations look like massive white candles melting in slow motion. But there's a heartbreaking truth about this place. When the Peel's mining company was pumping water out of these caves to access silver, lead, and zinc deposits, they inadvertently exposed these crystal chambers. The extreme heat and humidity that created these crystals also make them impossible to explore for more than a few minutes at a time, even with specialized cooling suits that cost thousands of dollars and weigh over 40 pounds. And now, with mining operations stopped, the caves are flooding again. The water level rises a little each year, slowly reclaiming these crystal palaces. Soon, this incredible wonderland will be lost beneath the mineral-rich water once more, perhaps for another 500,000 years. Future generations may never see what we can see today, making every photograph, every scientific measurement, every moment of exploration precious and irreplaceable. Place 3. The Rainbow Mountains of Peru. Vinicancat, 17,100 feet above sea level, where the air is so thin that every breath becomes precious, lies a mountain that looks like it was painted by the gods themselves. The locals call it Vinicanca, but the world knows it as Rainbow Mountain, and when you see it, you'll understand why it's been called the most beautiful mountain on Earth. Picture this: you've hiked for hours through the harsh Andean landscape. Your lungs burn from the altitude, your legs shake from exhaustion, and just when you think you can't take another step, you crest the final ridge and see it. Stripes of red, yellow, green, and purple stretch across the mountainside like nature's own rainbow. These aren't subtle colors, they're bold, vibrant, almost electric in their intensity. It's as if someone took a massive paintbrush and created a masterpiece on a canvas of stone. But here's the incredible science behind this beauty. These colors come from different minerals in the rock. Red from iron oxide, yellow from iron sulfide, green from chlorite, and purple from goethite. Over millions of years, tectonic plate movement and weathering exposed these mineral layers, creating this natural work
Travel
of art.
guide. The Turkmen government has plans to eventually extinguish it, both to conserve the natural gas and to eliminate what they consider an environmental hazard. But for now, it continues to burn, a reminder that our planet holds mysteries we're still trying to understand, and that sometimes our attempts to control nature create wonders more spectacular than anything we intended. Place number 2. The Crystal Caves of Mexico, Nakamine. 400 feet beneath the Chihuahuan Desert, in a place where temperatures reach 136 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity soars to 99%, lies one of the most spectacular and dangerous natural wonders on Earth. A cave system filled with crystals the size of school buses that took nature 500,000 years to create. The Cave of Crystals in Naka Mine isn't just remarkable, it's a deadly beautiful testament to the power of geological time. This isn't a tourist attraction where you can stroll and take selfies. This is an environment so extreme that without specialized cooling suits, a human being would die within 15 minutes from hypothermia. Imagine descending into the earth through mining shafts, past layers of rock that tell the story of millions of years. The air grows thicker, hotter, more oppressive with each foot you descend. Then, suddenly, you're standing in the entrance to what can only be described as Superman's fortress of solitude, but real, tangible, and utterly breathtaking. These aren't tiny crystals you might find in a gift shop. These are massive selenite crystals, some reaching 36 feet long, 13 feet wide, and weighing up to 55 tons. To put that in perspective, that's heavier than 8 elephants, formed entirely from crystallized gypsum. They crisscross the cave like the pillars of a cathedral built by gods who had eternity to perfect their craft. The crystals are so clear and perfectly formed that they seem to glow with their own inner light. Some are so large you could literally walk on them like bridges spanning an underground canyon. Others hang from the ceiling like massive icicles made of pure light. The surfaces are so smooth they act like mirrors, reflecting and refracting the artificial lights that explorers bring, creating an almost blinding display of brilliance. Here's what makes this place truly extraordinary. These crystals have been growing undisturbed for over 500,000 years in conditions that remained absolutely constant. The cave was completely flooded with mineral-rich water heated by a magma chamber deep below the earth. That water maintained a perfect temperature of 136 degrees Fahrenheit for 500,000 years, a geological miracle of consistency. Deep in the heart of the Karakum Desert, where the silence is so complete you can hear your own heartbeat, there burns a fire that has been raging for over 50 years. The locals call it the door to hell, and when you see it, you'll understand why this place has become one of the most haunting spectacles on Earth. Picture this, you're walking across endless sand dunes under a star-filled sky. The Karakum Desert stretches in all directions, minus 135,000 square miles of emptiness, where temperatures can soar to 120 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and plummet to near freezing at night. The silence here is profound, broken only by the whisper of wind across ancient dunes. Then, as you crest a ridge, you see it glowing on the horizon like a beacon from another dimension. A massive crater, 230 feet wide and 65 feet deep, burns with the intensity of 1,000 campfires. This isn't just flame, it's a portal of fire. Orange and red tongues of fire dance 20 feet into the air, casting an eerie glow that can be seen from 25 miles away. The crater's rim is scorched black, and the heat is so intense that you can feel it on your skin from 150 feet away. But here's the incredible part. This isn't a natural phenomenon. In 1971, Soviet engineers were drilling for what they hoped would be one of the world's largest natural gas reserves when disaster struck. The ground collapsed, creating this massive crater and releasing dangerous methane gas into the atmosphere. To prevent an environmental catastrophe, they made a decision that seemed logical at the time. They lit it on fire, expecting it to burn off in a few days. That was over 50 years ago. The fire still burns today, consuming an estimated 1.8 billion cubic feet of natural gas every year. Standing at the edge of this crater at night is like witnessing the birth of a new star. The heat hits your face in waves so intense they feel solid. The sound is a constant, hypnotic roar, like standing next to a jet engine, but deeper, more primal. The flames seem to reach toward you like fingers beckoning you into another realm, and the orange light reflects off your skin, making you feel like you're already part of this inferno. The crater never sleeps. It burns with the same intensity at noon as it does at midnight, in summer as in winter. Desert winds feed the flames, making them dance and spiral in hypnotic patterns. Local Turkmen herders tell stories of evil spirits trapped in the fire, and of jinn who use the flames as a gateway between worlds. What makes this place even more surreal is its isolation. The nearest settlement, Derwez village, was relocated by the government, leaving the crater burning alone in one of the most remote deserts on Earth. To reach it, you must drive 4 hours across trackless desert, using GPS, and local guides who navigate by landmarks visible only to those who've spent their lives in this harsh landscape. Conclusion: As our journey comes to an end, take a moment to let this sink in. We've traveled together to 15 places that exist on the same planet where you woke up this morning. Under the same sky, breathing the same atmosphere, governed by the same laws of physics. Yet each one seemed to transport us to another world entirely. From the endless flames of Turkmenistan's door to hell to the crystal cathedrals hidden beneath Mexico. From Bolivia's mirror world, salt flats to Iceland's ever-changing ice caves. From Romania's alien underground ecosystem to Canada's color-changing sacred lake. These places remind us of something we often forget in our daily lives. Our planet is not just a rock spinning through space. It's a living, breathing, constantly changing masterpiece. Every day, in hidden corners you've never heard of, nature is creating art that would be impossible to imagine if it didn't actually exist. But here's the most incredible part of all. These 15 places are just the beginning. There are thousands more hidden wonders scattered across our planet. Remote valleys where no human has ever set foot. Deep ocean trenches harboring creatures from another world. Mountain peaks where the air is so thin and clear you can see the curvature of the Earth itself. The world is not getting smaller, we're just beginning to realize how vast and mysterious it really is. Every expedition reveals new wonders. Every exploration opens doors to new questions. Every discovery reminds us that we live on a planet more incredible than any science fiction writer could imagine. So the next time you look at a map, remember, behind every dot, every line, every blank space, there might be hiding something absolutely extraordinary. A place where the impossible becomes possible, where nature breaks its own rules, where beauty exists at levels that can bring you to tears. Our planet is not just our home, it's our greatest adventure. And that adventure is waiting for you. Call to action. Which of these hidden places would you love to visit first? Comment below and let me know. Are you drawn to the alien landscapes of Socotra Island's dragon trees? Do you want to float through New Zealand's glowworm caves? Or maybe you're brave enough to peer into Turkmenistan's door to hell? And here's something special. If this video inspired you to see the world differently, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Because I'm constantly discovering new hidden wonders, and I want you to be the first to explore them with me. Remember, the world is full of magic. You just have to know where to look. Until a next adventure together, keep exploring, keep wondering, and keep believing that impossible places are possible. The journey never ends.